Welcome to video 7A. Run as fast as you can, 1 through 5 demonstration. This large group activity uses a classic children's story to draw attention to the sequential relationships embedded in our number system and allows children to meaningfully pair numerals with visual representations of quantities 1 through 5. The materials you'll need are a large surface to chart the characters in the story, character cards, a cardinality chart from 1 to 5, and the Gingerbread Man 1 through 5 script. Please refer to the activity instructions for how to individualize for your classroom. This activity provides the opportunity to use the following key instructional practices for comparing and labeling magnitudes. Help children discover the increasing magnitude principle, that the later a number word appears in the counting sequence, the larger the quantity it represents. Encourage children to apply the increasing magnitude principle to compare collections more precisely by counting. Help children focus on neighboring numbers by asking, "What comes after?" and eventually, "What comes before?" questions about the number sequence. Help children discover the successor principle, that each sequential number is exactly one more, by asking, "What is one more than?" and eventually, "What is one fewer than?" questions. And pair visual representations of quantity to both number words and numerals to create meaningful three-way associations. Let's join a classroom as they engage in this activity, and then listen in as the teacher reflects with a colleague.
So in our story, we're gonna start, this is what our gingerbread boy looks like. He popped out of the oven and he is going to start running. He blasted out of the classroom and starts running down the hall. Right now, there's only one character running because he's trying to escape. And do you know what he says? Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man. But that teacher, so she starts to chase the gingerbread man right down the hallway. We have a teacher. The teacher is chasing after that gingerbread man. Show me on your fingers how many characters are running down the hall.
1, 2.
There are 2, right? We started with 1 and 1 more. Now we have 2 racing down the hall. You told me that this line of runners was 4.
4.
What about this line?
4.
Is it still 4? Is it the same?
Yes.
Is this line the same as this line? What do you notice about how many characters are chasing that gingerbread man?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Come here, show me where you're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4. You can come up to the storyboard because I saw you pointing. What do you notice?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So there's 4 animals, 4 creatures chasing, plus the gingerbread boy's running too. So how many are in this line all together?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, so we had 4, and now 1 more makes 5.
Square.
What do you notice about the shape
A
of...
square. The square has a rectangle.
So
It's a diamond.
a diamond?
Yeah.
I wonder if you're noticing that it's a slant. So sometimes a diamond can go on a diagonal. Well, I'm going to show you something else, something that maybe you've seen before. This has some numbers on it. So we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does this have something in common with our story?
Yes.
If we look at those 2 together, this and that, what's the same about it?
The same.
How is it the same?
Because the squares.
Because it's squares? You're right.
circles.
Each one of these sections is a square, And each section here is a square. It has a dot in it, but the space is marked off by a square. Just like here, the characters are each on a square.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here, Bamlet, come here and show us what you're pointing at.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, thank you for showing us that, Bamlet. If we go this way, we have a lot of gingerbread boys, right? Because every time we counted the runners, we started with the gingerbread boy. The gingerbread boy was running the longest because he started the chase, and he was still running all the way to the end of the chase when they got to the cookie party. That's why we have so many gingerbread boys. Every time we started counting, we started with him. Just like when we start counting, we start with 1. Somebody once told me that it looked like steps. I'm wondering if you could use your imagination. Do you think you could jump up each time?
Yeah.
Does it kind of look like going up steps?
Yes. Look like the stairs.
Yeah, you want to come up and show us? Emanuela, come up. Show us how it looks like steps to you. Yeah, and every time you go up, how many are you going up by?
1,
Going.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
She counted for us, and you're right, it was 1 more every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We strongly encourage you to consider the pacing of this activity, following the children's lead, and repeating the activity with other growing pattern stories. In this video, the teacher points out the numerals on the cardinality chart, but as she asks more questions, she deliberately chooses to focus on the visual quantities on the storyboard. She wants to draw children's attention to the fact that later numbers in the count sequence represent larger quantities, and that sequential numbers increase by a quantity of 1. Later, she will help them connect those same ideas back to the cardinality chart and numerals.
You made a choice, you made a statement that seemed to open up that conversation.
I just kind of put it out there to say, this kind of looked like stairs. And I think once I said that, they could see it then. And the evidence was that they were counting, and then Emanuela came up and kind of walked her fingers up the steps, and so I think that made the connection. But it was surprising to me. I thought that they would more recognize that on their own.
Yeah.
So for me, we go up and down the stairs to the playground. So I'm thinking, well, now I know we need to count as we go up the stairs and down, because I think that relationship of 1 less is a lot less intuitive for the kids.
I noticed that you were very intentional about asking, what comes next, what number comes after.
Right. Well, I was hoping that they might generalize, like it's always 1 more. And I don't think I quite heard a generalization of that pattern, but they were able to say, if we had just created the line of 3 runners, they would know, the next one's going to be 4, or the next one's going to be 5. So they were using what they know from counting, I think, but not yet saying 1 more. So I tried to say that a lot. I think right now it's a much more, they're still kind of taking it in, and so I was just trying to help put language to it so that maybe eventually they'll be able to express it themselves.
And that's a good point, because it can be easy to think because they can tell you the number that comes after, that they understand that the number that comes after is 1 more.
Yeah. But yes, that doesn't really mean they understand that sequence is also a relationship between those numbers. And so, at times I tried to use gesture to help, because I kept prompting them, anything about the shape? I think it was Bamlack said, it looks like a diamond, And so I wondered if he was imagining, you know, the diagonal, and he just didn't have another way to talk
And you did say
about
that. You asked him, were you talking about the diagonal? And I think when you used that gesture and kind of put that with the conversation, it helped them all to kind of see, because they did notice, they said they saw the squares, but they didn't see the overall shape. They were seeing the individual pieces, the individual components, and they weren't quite making the connection. So it took some very intentional choices on your part to move them from seeing the individuals to seeing the whole and starting to see that structure where they could think about the stairs climbing up.
In some ways, I think maybe having the cardinality chart is a little smaller, so I think it visually looks more like one thing than the story chart. So I think that was maybe helpful. I tried to think about using the idea of the size, the magnitude of the numbers, and so, you know, I kind of wanted them to picture before I put the next, you know, tower, you know, chain of the runners up, like what it would look like, and tried to say, like, wow, it's getting longer. There's so many chasing after the gingerbread, to just help build that idea that as, you know, as we count later in the count sequence, we're counting more. These numbers are bigger, and we're gonna have to, it's gonna take longer. We're gonna have to name all the animals.
So I'm just wondering, how are you thinking about coming back around to this again, maybe thinking about how you might want to extend this experience?
Well, a couple things. You know, right when we wrapped up at the rug today, we moved into our free choice time. I noticed there were about 4 kids who right away wanted to pull the characters off the story chart and start telling the story. So to let them experiment and think about the sequence. But I also think there are a lot of stories with this kind of structure and acting it out, really. That would be super fun too.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me. It's a great conversation, and I look forward to coming back to your classroom again.